welcome back. Today is generally just going to be a quick one as I just only found this guy literally last night and I'm very happy about it. Really want to get this guy out because I've been waiting for him to hit shelves for so long. It genuinely feels like time has gone by and, you know, I have aged several thousand years in waiting for him. But I finally saw him at a Walmart last night. So let's have a look at Jhiaxus. Firstly, just before I turn the camera around and get a proper look at him, he really does like shine. He's so much better in hand than he is in any pictures. And that's generally what I've seen in reviews is the case. Is get him and you won't be disappointed, if that makes sense. So here we have Jhiaxus in all his freaking Voyager class glory, and the plastic they've used is really shiny, white, vibrant, just white plastic, not painted. And while a lot of people are worried that it might yellow over time, right now, while that's not the case, it looks absolutely great and it shines and it's got that nice little sheen on it. Kind of, not sure I can get it in camera, but he's got a lot of detail running throughout, and he's got a number of ports for weaponizers or fossilizers, one on the bottom and I believe one on the side. So he's got a couple to use, but it seems to be just on the outside of the arms, legs, maybe one on the back now for figures. But he looks really good, and that head sculpt is, while not symmetrical because he's got a few little odds and ends, is very detailed and possibly one of the best head sculpts that I've seen. His eyes are like tealy greens or similar to the wings, and it's just, it looks grand, it looks menacing, it looks evil. And yeah, I know he's got the Decepticon logo, and technically he's not really a Decepticon, but you know, you gotta faction him off one way or the other. The only thing that I'm not a big fan of is if you, right now on mine, if you turn the wrists, the panel that holds his hand in place tends to pop out, and I'm not sure if that's a thing that will devolve over time, and where this loosens up and this can stay in, that will stop. But right now, that's just the only minor gripe I've got with it. He's got good articulation. If it wasn't for the wings, he could do a full 360, but his leg posing is just crazy. He can't do the full Van Damme, but you know, he's really good. And the tubing here, I'm winging this one. I haven't thought about anything I'm going to say. I just wanted to get him out of the box and show him off because I have been waiting for this for so long, it feels like. He's got good articulation all around, it feels. The feet kind of feel a bit restricted. He has got a good ankle tilt, but you can see a lot of empty space behind. That's just one, again, minor gripe, but posed, you're not really going to see that. So, but it just does feel a bit weak, if that's a thing I can say. It's good for flight posing. Like when you pull his feet back, it does kind of tend to create a good line of, or angle of flight. Again, he's got hand articulation exactly the same as Optimus Prime, and again, if he came with more accessories, this could have been a leader class, but it's just a really good Voyager. And that yellow has got a tint of gold in it, and I really love that. Like, the color scheme on him just works. You'd think that these three colors mainly together, along with the red, would not work, but it's so 90s. And that's the thing I like, especially when we get into jet mode. These, if you see on the underside, if you can hear that, it feels like there's very soft ratchets. And this helps keep the wings a little bit more flush in jet mode. There's a lot of jets that use this, like flip in, flip out, and they never really angle well, if that makes sense. But they've got these little notches, or it feels like little notches, to hold it in place, and it is kind of very soft ratchets. Like extremely soft, to the point where you can't even really see them. but they're really good. Yeah, the color scheme so far, robot mode, the leg joints, as I've said, are crazy. Like, it's got that kind of McFarlane thing where you've got the joint and then the outside leg is pinned in. So it kind of is restrictive when you pull them out, but it's really good. Let's have a look at his weapons. Now you'll notice he didn't have his little shoulder cannon out, and that's because it's folded up inside his body, which is a good little gimmick, but you can only really do that if you pull off this part. And now this part, in box, I know a lot of things have been stolen recently because of the open packaging. This has a piece of plastic in packaging over the top, and it is very well secured in his shoulder holster. I really had to pry this out, so there's no real worry about losing this, but you can see it's got like a little target and array on both of the green bits. Looks really good. And at first I stupidly assumed that I could just pop it here and it would be part of the gun and bam. But no, it acts as a kind of stock and goes with a bigger one on the bottom, because then it lines up and it becomes flush with the top. But yeah, you've got your red standard gun, and this is a chunky weapon, and you'll see how chunky next to the other one in just a second, but it really does. It fits Jhiaxus with all the tubing and the red for the head, and again with the little highlight green, it really does work. It's very 90s, like the tiny little stock for ammo and just the barrel, it's really well detailed. And yeah, obviously it's got a post on this side and it's got two little cables on this and one, but that post I've decided is going to be used for this, and this is almost identical in design. There's a couple of things different, but yeah, these are pretty much exactly the same, apart from the fact that you've got a port and a post on this side and just a post on this side. But yeah, it's just a real, again, smoky grey with a little bit of silver on top, I believe. But this, look at how thin that is. That's like a wafer. That's like a wafer gun. But just to give him a super pumped up weapon, I just plug this on the side. I know that's not the official configuration on the box, but then you've got like all his accoutrement and side pieces in one weapon. So he looks like a badass. And this is one of those figures where you've got the molded in piece, so the hand articulation really doesn't matter. You can push it in, but even if it's out, it's not gonna stop him from holding the weapon. And I think he looks real smart and a bit of a threat. So yeah, I think he's looking good. Let's get him transformed up into jet mode and we'll go from there. And just like that, we have his jet mode, and it's a fun transformation. It's pretty simple. Every joint does what it's supposed to do. The wings from the legs do kind of just hang out here, but they do kind of blend in with the back. It's not like Blitzwing. It does kind of mesh a little bit better, but you got his tiny little thrusters, which are not pegged in properly. You got his fins, which the fins on the inside of the legs don't really on mine tab in properly, so you do get a bit of movement if you move his legs too quickly, but I'm sure that can be fixed. But yeah, this is a really sleek looking jet mode, and as I said with the tabs, he looks good. The red works. Again, the color scheme, it looks like something that should not be able to work. It looks like it will be ridiculous, but there's a good color balance between all of them, apart from the red nose cone. But it just, again, it works. And the weapons, the instructions say you've got a peg and a hole under here that you push this in. And this one is supposed to go on the side here, but I don't know. I know it doesn't look very sleek, but I like the thought of Jhiaxus coming down and just, you know, machine gunning, because there were machine guns in G2, let's be honest, they weren't lasers. Machine gunning his Autobot enemies down, it works. I like it. It really does shine, and the metal tubing here, it's just a real thing of beauty, I think. And it's sleek. It's got its aerodynamic qualities. Again, unlike Blitzwing, where you've got most of the tank mode underneath, you've only really got his arms, and even then, it's kind of forgivable because you can, it kind of flows very neatly. Obviously with the gun, not really, but let's get this out. It's a really good jet mode, and yeah, you can't put anything in here, and there are fixes for this hollowness. But again, you're not going to display him at all like that. It's going to be on a stand, and you're going to have him swooping down. So I don't really mind that so much. But yeah, this is a really good jet mode. It's very otherworldly. It's very Cybertronian, and it is detached. You look at it and you see a jet, but it's very detached from what you'd recognize as a regular jet. The wings are bat-like. The nose cone is elongated. There's metal tubing. It's the color scheme. It's just, it's its own thing. And it does it well, and it's very proud of what it can do. So, yeah, I like it. Even the detailing. Oh, I do like this jet mode. Just before we wrap up real quick, I will do some comparisons, and while I can't really get the whole of him in frame, here he is with Laser Prime G2. I can get them both in frame. I lied. Obviously he's got some stickers I added, but yeah, these two work together really well. They obviously didn't meet each other like this in the comics, but everyone just jumps, or lumps, should I say, G2 in together. So these two often end up on toy shelves, collection shelves together, or, you know, as a variation near each other. So they look pretty smart near each other, and you can really tell, like, this was a leader figure. And when I mentioned earlier he had articulation here, Earthrise Prime, or Kingdom, depending on which one you got. I forgot this one does not have it. So yeah, a Voyager with a lot more intricate articulation. Obviously the legs work pretty good on this guy, but he can't, there's some restrictions with this, with the arms, so he can never really get a decent range of arm poses. So Jhiaxus is winning out on that. And just look at the arm difference. Just look at the reach this guy has over Prime. And I feel this figure is a lot better proportioned. I feel the look of this kind of went into the G2-ness. This was really thought about well. So that's him next to Optimus Prime. And obviously, because we had to have two bad guys together in the same shot, here he is with Generation Select's Megatron, well, G2 Megatron. And Captain Purple Underpants here does, again, look really good. And this is just such a 90s, like, it could be a sitcom. Jhiaxus and Megatron. One's tidy, one's not. They work together pretty well, and it's good. It's a good collection of G2 that Hasbro is putting together very slowly but surely. And we've got Road Rocket from Speedia 500 as well. So, you know, they're really putting some attention to G2, where a couple of years ago that wouldn't have been the case. So it's good to just know that they're aware that G2 is popular and has its fans, and for that, you got to respect them. Even if you're not fans of the color scheme or the molds, you have to give them credit that they are paying attention to certain niche areas of the fandom. Prime, Generation 2, Beast Wars, and actually giving it some love. And these, well, Jhiaxus really, Jhiaxus really is 100% proof of that. He really is good. And I think obviously another head sculpt that gets knocked out of the park. Another transformation that is really good and simple, like legs fold in, arms fold down, hands fold in, wings fold out. It's very by the numbers, but it works. And I can't really ask for anything better than that. He's going to stand on the shelf. He's going to be proud. He's going to go with my G2 shelf. So, yeah, G2 Jhiaxus. He is a solid winner. Believe the hype, people. Believe the hype. And I believe we will end it on a positive note for a Decepticon. Not Decepticon. You know what I mean. Thanks for watching and sticking to the end of this very quickly put together Jhiaxus review. I think review is a loose word, but my first thoughts on it. I'll probably get around to doing something a bit more in-depth, but for now, thank you for watching. Appreciated. Hit like if you like, subscribe if you want more toy content in the future, and otherwise just have a great day. Look at him here with the little Halloweeny bat wings. It's like he's cosplaying as Batman of ZooRL or ZoonRL, or however you say it. But it's the 1st of September. It's like, dude, you've got 2 months. Chill out.